Hello, and welcome to the eLearning and Instructional Design for Beginners podcast, where new and aspiring instructional designers start, grow, and advance their careers in instructional design and online learning development. I'm your host, Crystal Harper. I'm a former school teacher who transitioned to instructional design, all while working full-time as a single mom. Would you like to become a successful instructional designer without the burden of earning another degree? Well, then let's get started. Formative assessments help you track learner progress throughout the duration of a course and offers your learners feedback to use to improve their e-learning experience. You're able to identify areas that might need improvement and pinpoint strengths during the e-learning course. Formative assessment is one of the most beneficial assessment strategies because it focuses on what still needs to be learned instead of what learners should have already mastered. Unlike summative assessments that are used at the end of an e-learning course to assess the comprehension of the learner, formative assessments are diagnostic in nature and used throughout the course. In this training, you will learn about 4 different types of formative assessment and 8 tips on how to use formative assessment in e-learning. Why is this important? Formative assessments should be mapped to the enabling objectives of an e-learning course. By doing so, the instructor ensures that the student is learning the concepts set out in the planning of that module or course. When the student successfully completes the assessment, it provides both the learner and trainer with feedback showing knowledge they have gained, skills developed, and any areas that need to be further developed in that learning objective. Each successful demonstration of learning builds towards the overall learning for that student. Now we will talk about 4 types of formative assessment. Number 1, reflection logs. Reflection logs allow learners to log the details of what they are learning, their thoughts and feelings about the topic, and main ideas of the lessons learned. The instructor can use this log to track the student's progress. Presentations. Learners can work together or independently to create a digital presentation that is presented to their peers via the online discussion board. The learners should be provided with a rubric beforehand that clarifies expectations and should specify which skills and information should be included in the project. Goal checks. Goal checks provide learners with a goal or objective at the beginning of an e-learning lesson or module. After the lesson is complete, they are given an assessment that determines whether they achieved the goal and how much they have progressed. Self and peer reviews. Learners should be encouraged to reflect on their own progress and determine their proficiency level or knowledge mastery. They may also be evaluated by their peers, who give them feedback and insight on their work. This form of online assessment is usually paired with another e-learning activity, such as reflection logs. Now you will learn about 7 tips using formative assessment in e-learning. Number 1, assess learners at the end of each module. Formative assessments should be included after students complete each individual module in an e-learning course. Assessing learners at the end of each lesson allows you to determine where the learning has happened in the way it was intended. Provide constructive and immediate feedback. The entire purpose of formative assessment in e-learning is to give your learners timely feedback in order for them to correct their misunderstandings and strengthen the desired knowledge. Learners must be given feedback immediately after they make a mistake. Research shows that learners who receive immediate feedback gain more than learners who receive delayed feedback. If you notice that a student isn't fully grasping a concept or is unable to apply their knowledge, then it is the instructor's job to offer them the required feedback and guidance as soon as possible. Explain to the learners the reasons why they got an answer correct or incorrect. Often a learner guesses the correct answer by chance. Be sure to provide feedback in formative assessments that encourage the student to continue learning. Using words like good attempt when a learner gets an answer wrong is good practice. Most importantly, the feedback should tell them why the answer is wrong and what the right answer is. Customize the content depending on student progress. One of the biggest benefits of using formative assessment in e-learning is that you can customize the content to meet the individual needs of your learners. If you find that they are struggling with a particular topic, formative assessments allow you to see this right away. You can then modify the activities, assignments, and assessments in order to improve their knowledge or comprehension of the content. As opposed to assessing at the end, you are given the opportunity to fix the incorrect skills during the actual learning process. Keep track of the data. It's essential that you have quantifiable data that you can actually track. The online assessments help track your learners' mastery of the desired learning objectives. One way of doing this is by having students complete a scenario-based training at different points throughout the course and keep track of their progress. Another way is by giving them short, low-stakes quizzes that monitors how they are improving. Most learning management systems include these measurement tools in the platform. Keep score values low. The purpose of formative assessments in e-learning is not about the grades, but about the progress. Formative assessments show you that they've mastered the learning objectives and that they are improving as they move through the e-learning course. These assessments in e-learning are designed to monitor students' development and provide them with the feedback they can use to correct their misunderstandings and strengthen the desired knowledge. Make the formative assessments of very low value, maybe 1 to 2 points, simply to ensure that the students will put in their best efforts but not result in dampening his or her spirits. Use different types of questions. Using different types of questions makes assessments more interesting for the learners. The different types of formative assessment questions include true or false, matching, single or multiple select, fill in the blanks, crosswords, puzzles, or short answer written responses. Make assessments engaging. Making assessments interesting and engaging is super important to enhance the learning experience. This will help unlock curiosity and drive the students' mental engagement. Engaging formative assessments hold learners' attention by using various forms of media elements such as audio, video, animations, graphics, and gamification. These forms of media will make it more appealing to different learning styles and motivate students to try harder. Consider the proficiency level. Formative assessment also needs to take into consideration the level of proficiency that needs to be demonstrated. For example, if students are required to demonstrate knowledge level proficiency of, for example, the capital cities, an appropriate assessment might be a quick quiz asking them to list the capitals. On the other hand, if students need to demonstrate synthesis level proficiency of identifying the risk of foodborne illness in a restaurant, the assessment would require students to access a number of sources of information to complete the assignment. Formative assessment in e-learning provides your learners with opportunities to identify areas of improvement and expand their knowledge while there is still time to make the proper adjustments. Providing feedback is an essential part of formative assessment. This helps summarize what's taught in each module before moving on to the next. In this training, you learned about 4 different types of formative assessment and 8 tips on how to use formative assessment in e-learning. You should now be ready to implement effective formative assessments into your e-learning course. So what are you waiting for? Apply these practices discussed in this training and design the proper formative assessments and deliver a better experience for your e-learning course.